Winston Churchill. Churchill and Roosevelt had only met once. They had met at a dinner in London in 1918 during World War I. Churchill never remembered the encounter. Roosevelt never forgot the fact that Churchill never remembered the encounter. But Churchill was arduously courting Roosevelt because he needed the help of the United States to survive, and Roosevelt was trying to give it. And what Churchill needed desperately were some World War I era destroyers to replace those being sunk by U-boats in Great Britain and the English Channel almost daily. And it's a long, complicated story, but they worked out a way to send the destroyers to Britain without seeking the approval of Congress. That was a very unusual thing, but he did it. Second, third-term presidents learn how to do things without Congress, and he kind of paved the way there. But there was an issue as to, but they had to be traded in return for something to satisfy U.S. law, and they had to be traded for access to British bases in the Caribbean and elsewhere in the Western Hemisphere, and that was to satisfy U.S. law. Well, Churchill was worried that Roosevelt was going to couch the thing in such terms that he would be getting the better of the bargain, and he didn't want that impression to reach London, obviously. So they couldn't work it out. So Roosevelt arranged a transatlantic conference call, and he put his Attorney General, Robert Jackson, on the phone. And Jackson tried to describe to Churchill the exigencies of U.S. law and why this had to be a trade, or as he said, it had to be a bargain. And Churchill said, empires just don't bargain. And Robert Jackson, the Attorney General, said, well, republics do. Roosevelt, to try to calm the waters here a little bit, said, you see, Winston, the trouble is I have an Attorney General, and he says I have to bargain. Well, said Churchill, maybe you ought to trade these destroyers for a new Attorney General.